Hello and welcome back to another interview at the Future Blockchain Summit. This is day 3. I'm Adel, the host, and today we have Jakub, a special guest and good friend of mine, who is VP of Sales and Marketing at Matterfi. Jakub, what's your story and tell us why you're here today?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me. So look, I've been in the space since 2017-18, and I always was fascinated by the wallets and how crucial role they play in whatever we're doing in the Web3 space, right? So I started back in those days co-founding a startup out of Switzerland that was building a hardware wallet, and now I transitioned to a space where we're actually building an infra for the wallets. So I believe that we are still not there yet. We are not ready for the mainstream adoption because a couple of puzzles are still missing, like security, privacy, and better user experience.
Right, I see. So Matterfi is an interesting name, like matter and finance. How does that, what is it all about exactly?
About the finance that matters.
Right.
But yeah, just to build on top of that. So we're basically building an infrastructure for the wallets and custody systems. And by that, I mean, we're building a railway as a white label technology so that those tools basically could operate much, much better, much more securely and much more privately and provide a better user experience. And to that end, I believe it's worth mentioning like a couple of problems that we are still facing, right? So the first one is the user experience. Like people get really confused about all these addresses and the networks that they have to choose from in order to send over the crypto. So there are a couple of companies that are trying to replace the addresses with the domains, like similar to the web domains.
So like website domains instead?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like human readable names, right? But the problem with those companies is that they are using static addresses mapping, meaning if someone knows the name of your domain, they can look up all the history of your transaction and they can look up, the current balance, which basically puts you in the threat. Because then you can be followed and then tracked and then fished into many, many bad things. So we solved the privacy issue. Because in our infra, when I'm sending you money, let's say your name is Abdel on our system. So when I'm sending money to Abdel, what happens is basically our wallets will compute the receiving address based on our private keys. So that means only we could actually compute this receiving address. So if someone else is going to send you money, it will land on a different address, etc., etc.
That's better.
So then what you can imagine is you putting your name out there on your Instagram, on invoice, on your website. Anyone can send you any type of digital assets, but no one knows how much money you have.
Right.
So that's one of the key features that we've built in order to increase the security and privacy, but at the same time provide much, much better user experience.
Got it. That's a very interesting and useful use case that you're building here, Matterfi. So what's the onboarding process like? How does somebody get onboarded with Matterfi?
Okay, so one of our clients is Swiss Fortress. So Swiss Fortress is basically a wallet provider out of Switzerland. We recently released a beta of the wallet. So you can actually go to the swissfortress.com and then download the beta and play with that. So you send over to me or one of the team members the name that you reserved on the beta, and we can send you the tokens, not sharing any address information at all. And it will always land on your wallet. So it's pretty straightforward. And now we are talking to different wallets and different ecosystem providers. So we want to bring it as a worldwide standard. So I imagine the future of the wallets in which there is no addresses. Like in 5-10 years, you will see no wallets using addresses anymore. There will no longer be also seeds for the recovery. I don't believe the seeds is a viable recovery method for most of the people.
So there'll be no wallets?
I think the wallets will be, but they might be defined a bit differently because I think they will encompass not only our financial selves and financial, let's say, capabilities, but they will be mostly connected to all our medical data, personal data, all of that.
There has been some speculation and theoretical theories about how money will be stored in the brain. So this is something off topic, maybe, but it's still related because it relates to finance. But all the money will actually be stored in the brain because we'll have implants. And only you yourself can see the sort of you can see the screen on your own iris, how much your balance is, and this is actually the most protected way, ideal perspective in the world. Not yet existing yet, I don't know, to my knowledge, but this is one of the things that have been theorized, and this is one of the reasons why there won't be any wallets, even digital wallets. It'll be in your eye.
Yeah, well, look, it's very hard to predict the future, typically. But
this would be the ideal.
That would be the ideal. Like, the only question is, how do you actually sign those transactions, right? So do you do it by a brain signal, or do you do it, as you deal right now with some gestures for VR systems?
Right.
So that's the question. Like, because if someone finds a way to actually, basically sign the transaction instead of you, then it's a security issue.
If it's impossible, yeah, it's true. And I think the idea of this is to make that even impossible.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be a scenario worth considering. It's like trying to put a square in a circle. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be possible because you would need to be alive, and you would need to be the one to approve it. Nobody can approve your identity because you have a specific code, you have a specific genetic makeup, you have a specific iris, and WorldCoin is using this iris system to make sure you're not a bot. WorldCoin is already using iris. So imagine what other companies, other innovators are doing with this pace of how technology is rising so fast.
True. That's why I will never dare to predict the future,
Yeah, true.
For a significant amount of time. But coming back to where we are, I think that, so the privacy and security, we touched upon that a little, but if you elaborate these problems that we have, when you're depositing money to any custodian system, right, so any exchange, etc., what you see is basically an address.
Yes.
But how do you know as a user that this is actually their address? And the answer to that is you don't.
You don't.
You don't. You just trust what you see. Now, on the reverse, the true is the same thing. So if you're withdrawing money, how do they know that this is your address? And the answer to that is they don't.
They don't.
They just believe that this is your address because this is what they see on the system. Now, with our infra, this is actually solved because instead of using the addresses, we are using the name. So the custody system could be the name as well. So we don't have to know each other's addresses in this case because the addresses will be computed individually for each and every pair of users.
That's good.
So what it means is basically, that means zero phishing possible. Because you're not, you don't have to in our system log into the website and then just, deposit to a system.
You remind me of something that virtual cards can do. Virtual cards, like Revolut, they can generate a virtual card and create just a new virtual card specifically to complete a transaction. It's a similar concept of what you're doing.
I would say that's a very good comparison because we're building those so that actually you can interact with anyone just by knowing, a kind of identificator that is globally unique, and by that, you've got all the means required to transfer any asset. But at the same time, no one knows what the assets are being held by this counterparty.
Got it. Wow, I really love this space, and I really thank you for your insights today. I think these are insights that keep me up at night. Actually, they keep me wondering what's the future. And I think this is not a general interview. This is a really deep dive, and I think the audience can really benefit from this. So thank you for your insights.
Thank you, and stay safe, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this insightful. If you want more information about Matterfi, get in touch with Jakub. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing. He's your man. Anything related to this, he is the person to speak to. So thank you for...